Peace and blessings, y'all. What's going on? It is your host, the one and only, yours truly, KiMu JTD, and you are now rocking out with KiMu, where we are going to tap into relationships today. One of the 4 currencies I told y'all about in a previous video. So if you didn't see that video, we're gonna make sure that you get a link to it just so you can tap in. All right, let's get into it. I chose this video because I see so many times people are struggling with relationships. And I'm not just talking about romantic, intimate, whatever. I'm talking about just regular basic relationships. Friendships, intimate relationships, mother-daughter friend relationships, father-son relationships, mother-son relationships, all types of relationships. They're all the same. The basics are all the same. It's just the dynamic is different. But we're literally just talking about ground level basics, getting you to tap into those relationships so that way you can not only be the only one who is benefiting, but the other person is always benefiting. And if it's time to move on, we're gonna talk about that too. Because sometimes we just don't know how to be like, yo, I'm done with this relationship, or sometimes we have trouble just letting things just fall into place. We're going to talk about that today. And here are my 10 tips that we are going to get into so we can get it popping now. Tip number 1, I need y'all to realize one thing, and one thing specifically, is you attracted the relationship that you're in, that friendship that you're in, that mother-daughter relationship, that father-son, you attracted it. We have the ability to attract whatever it is that we want into our lives. And that's even people. I know who I've attracted into my circle. I attracted my mother, and I know I lead the relationship that we have. In order for me to see change, I have to make sure that I am leading that change. Because guess what? Yeah, it takes 2 to tango, but in the tango, there has to be one lead and there has to be one follower. If I want to see change, I have to lead it. Therefore, if I want to, I want to attract people who have higher income, who have multiple assets. If I want to attract people who are in a loving relationship and who have a beautiful family that they love dearly to their heart, I have to understand that I attract that. So I need you to understand that you attract that. You have the ability. If you want that relationship and you want something to change, you have to lead it. Tip number 2 is you have all the opportunities for growth. Once again, I said this in another video that we all have opportunities for growth in our relationships. Just like I said in the previous tip, these relationships are here to show you that, hey, this is who you are right now. If you feel like somebody triggers a negative emotion out of you, that means that you see yourself in that person. That person is triggering you, and it's tapping into your shadow side. That part of you that's all the way deep down in your soul, and it's like, I want to come out. But the only way that it's going to come out is in your reflection. We have to be able to deal with that shadow side. And once we're able to coexist with our shadow side, coexist with our negative nature, if we're not coexisting with it, it's always going to disturb us. It's always going to come into the light and show itself. And we're going to get agitated because like, yo, I'm all happy and you bring this crap into my space? No. Who wants that? Let's be real. Everybody, not everybody. Most people want to be in the most positive space that they feel like they can be in. But we have to be aware of the fact that there's an opportunity in every single relationship for you to grow and for you to help the other person to grow. We got to understand the reason why. All right? Understand that there's an opportunity for growth within you, within that relationship. You just got to see it. And that goes back to tip number 1, being aware. Tip number 3 is very selfless. We have to come out of ourselves in relationships. Before my entrepreneurial journey, I used to think, yo, what am I getting out of this? I had a very entitled nature within myself, and I start to get around people who are millionaires, who have more constructive relationships, more positive relationships, and I'm like, yo, what are they doing? I want to know what they're doing to get relationships where it's like their friends will just fly out to them just to say what's up, just to kick it with them in their city real quick and then fly back home. I want to know what they got in their relationships. And that thing is called service. That is the selfless aspect of it. They told me that everything in life is about sales. Whenever you're dealing with people, it's about sales. It's about serving other people. How can you serve the other person that you're in a relationship with? Are you just there to benefit? Are you there to just be able to cry on their shoulder? Are you there to just be like, yo, look what I got, look what I'm doing, things like that? Or are they just placeholders for somebody else? If they a placeholder for somebody else, we really need to check that relationship, because not only are you wasting their time, you wasting your time too, because you could be putting somebody else in that spot that is going to more positively impact you, like me. But anyway, your relationships are about service. Whenever you come into a disagreement, you get the opportunity to grow and figure out, how can I serve this person? You ever actually ask somebody, how can I help you today? Is there any way that I can do, maybe that person just need a phone call. Maybe that person just need a listening ear. Our relationships are always about service. You want a better relationship? Think outside of yourself. Stop thinking about what I can get out of it all the time, and think about, how can I actually help this person? And this is a bonus tip. This is something that I've learned throughout different relationships that I've had, whether they're romantic, platonic, this is my homie, it's my mom. How can I, especially in those clashing moments, what I started to do was, after we get away from that space, can I help you with anything? Or maybe I don't ask. Maybe I just do something. For example, if it was my mom and we started clashing, I don't do it out of, I'm so sorry. Nah, I did what I did and I said what I said. But the thing is, at the end of the day, that does not degrade the fact that I still love you. The thing is, disagreements are going to happen whether you like it or not. How deeply emotionally connected you get is going to dictate how impactful that disagreement actually was. Make sure you remember that. Service. Selfless servant. How can you show up for the other person? Because if you're showing up, and when you're giving, you're bound to get at least 3 times in return. In the Bible, it says 10 times in return. So why not? Let me invest this little bit of time. Let me invest this hour into somebody else. And then guess what? Somebody is going to be willing to invest 10 hours into me, just because I went out of my way to invest an hour of my time into somebody else. Tip number 4, we got to learn to accept people for who they are. This is truly probably one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. Accepting somebody for who they actually are is not saying, I'm going to have you be in the same position and I want you to do the same thing, but yes, you can be who you are. Nah. See, the thing is, accepting somebody for who they are is literally saying, okay, I see you not physically, but I see you on a more intrinsic level. I see inside of you. I see who you're choosing to be on an everyday basis, and that's okay. That is perfectly okay with me. How do you move in regards to that? You get to dictate. As I said in my other video, this is the event. The event is you seeing who this person is, who this person chooses to be, and you respond. And therefore, depending on your response, your outcome can be negative or positive. And this is going to take practice, like especially when it comes to parents. I know that's probably where you need to start, with your parents. Accepting somebody for who they are is literally saying, hey, I see who you are and I still love you. You're still going to hold the same place. But if I need to move differently so that way I can still protect myself, that's exactly what I'm going to do. You're still going to have a place in my heart. You're still going to have a place in my camp, but I get to dictate how close you get to be to the fire. How do I get to use you not in a selfish way, but in a way that we can both benefit? Maybe I need to talk to you less because talking to you for long periods of time stresses me out. That's cool. How can we still have an awesome relationship, but this be beneficial for the two of us? That's how you accept other people. Tip number 5, build relationships. You build relationships by serving. You build relationships by thinking outside of yourself and not trying to figure out, oh, how can I benefit from this relationship, or how can I benefit in this moment? It's not always just about you. Please get outside of yourself. It's also about the other person. That other person is in the relationship the same way you're in the relationship, and that is going to be something that we really want to embrace. This person is here to help us. That's how we got to think about our relationships. this person is here to help us, whether it's to help us progress in a way where they're here to pour into us, or maybe they're just here to help us so we can see opportunities of growth within ourselves, because they show us a reflection of who we truly are. Look at when it comes to dealing with these relationships, it's all about perspective, building those relationships. And maybe you do need to build a new relationship with somebody else. Maybe you do need to come outside and go to an event and bring somebody else into the circle. Maybe somebody is phasing out in your life and it's time to make space for a new person. You never know. Always be open. Tip number 6, never burn bridges. I'm gonna repeat that. Never burn bridges. And the reason why I say that is because you never know when you may need somebody. It's not to say, oh, I'm gonna go back and we're gonna backtrack and see if we could try this again. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm literally saying that always keep that line open, because you never know when that person could show up and be there to help you. You never know when that person may show up with a superhero cape in your darkest moment, and the only person that you can call that you trust with the sensitivity of the nature and the problem that you're going through is that person. And that person is going to be there to pick up the phone and be like, yo, what's up? You got my ear. You never know. That's why you don't never want to burn bridges. Don't be out here ghosting people. Keep people in. Just because they're distant from the circle doesn't mean that you can go like, hey, you got a minute? Yeah, I got a minute. My mom used to tell me this. Sometimes distance is necessary because it actually draws us in closer. So maybe we don't talk as much, but when we connect, we really connect. So never burn bridges. Tip number 7 is learning how to agree to disagree. That is probably one of the hardest things that we can learn to do, is agree and to disagree. The importance of that is to allow both parties to understand that, hey, you got your stance, I got my stance, and that's okay. We're not here to share the same views. We're here to help people expand upon their views and for us to expand upon our views. We may be solid in what we believe in, and that's okay. And the other person may be solid in what they believe in, and that's okay. But the thing is, okay, I respect what you believe in. I respect your way of thinking. I agree to disagree, and we move on. And then the next level to that is just figuring out, how do we comfortably segue ourselves into a different conversation without this being awkward? But agreeing to disagree is going to really help you out. Realizing that, hey, we're in your head, yeah, we about to get into an argument. All right, cool. I respect your perspective. That's all they need to know. I respect your perspective. Nobody's going to argue when you tell them, I respect your perspective. I agree to disagree. That's okay that we don't agree. And then we move on. Tip number 8 is use others to their strengths. Do not be out here putting people in positions where you know that they're probably not going to succeed. Why are they not going to succeed? Because that's not their strength. That's not their area of expertise. Would you like it if somebody put you in a space where they're looking for you to succeed, but you know you're not good at it? Like, how does that hit your confidence? I've heard of people I did this too, where you're testing people just to see how they're going to show up. The thing is, they're going to fail. You want to know why? Because they don't know that they're being tested. And most likely, you're testing them in an area that they lack in. Once again, if you want change to happen, you have to lead it. And the thing is, I'm going to go into the next tip, in which you also have to be patient with that person. Tip number 9 is being patient with that person when it comes time for change. When it comes time for anything, set the standard with that person and be patient with them. Change takes time. And especially if you want the change, if you're like, hey, I want to see this in our relationship. Hey, can we agree to make this happen? Yeah, we can agree to make this happen. Cool. Let's agree to make this happen. Be patient with them. It's really going to take some time for them to change, but it's also going to take time for you to change and help get them acclimated. Show them the way. Lead the way. Once again, it takes 2 to tango. So how can both of y'all tango and nobody's leading? You know what a tango look like when there's no leader and both people are followers? It looked like a mess. I don't think anybody has ever done salsa or tango or any type of couples dance and it looked awesome with 2 followers. I ain't never seen it. I doubt you've ever seen it. Don't do it. Lead the change so that way the other person can follow. Tip number 10 is never put trust in somebody. What do I say there? I'm not saying don't trust people. I'm saying never put trust into them, because anytime that you put trust into, you are externalizing your ability to trust, and you actually don't trust them. You're just saying, hey, I want you to do this, get it done. And now you have put trust somewhere that it doesn't even belong. It should just be, I trust. I trust it. You're putting it into somebody's hands and they may not be ready for it. Whereas you could be putting it in no one's hands and understanding and trusting that everything is going to fall exactly where it needs to. Only put trust into one thing, and that is in life itself. That is in yourself. Putting trust into the universe, the almighty, whatever you believe in. Putting trust into the thing that is connected to the cosmos, to the universe. Putting trust in that, understanding that, yeah, everything is going to turn out exactly the way it needs to. When it's time for things to show up, it's going to show up. When it's time for my friend to reveal that they are capable of what I'm asking them to do, it's going to reveal itself. But don't set somebody up for failure. Don't put trust into somebody and it's completely external. Just trust. Just have trust, and that's it. Those are our 10 tips in dealing with relationships. All right. I hope that you enjoyed the value that I have provided you with, the tips that I have provided you with, because you have just rocked out with KiMu JTD, your host, the one and only. I'm glad that you were able to tune in with me this Thursday, and I look forward to catching up with you next Thursday on another episode. Hey, if you love the content today, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the ring-a-ding-ding bell so that way you can get notified every time I drop another video. And go ahead and hit that like button if you liked it, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to hear more of. I look forward to speaking with y'all next week. Peace.